Land. My name is Razak Musbau, and you can always join us on the WhatsApp line 055 11 997. You can always join us on that WhatsApp line because today with the moment I entered into the studio, it was like Atsu was holding his PC documents left over. Say, hey, Chairmano. Charlie boys are on heat. As for Sitso, all he was shouting was heat. Let me bring the guys in. Guys, welcome to another Friday. Hey, Muftawu.
Where did that even come from?
No.
Oh my goodness, guys.
Boys vex for the street stop. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Atsu is wiping his chin and all of that.
Quite a bit this week, you know.
Is what?
We've learned quite a bit this week. People ball. If you scan through social media, even commentary on traditional media and all of that, you can tell a lot of people are angry. But we also learned lessons that accuracy is important, particularly in journalism. Timing is also important in the sense that a matter that was not, or patience is also important, because in the sense that a matter that perhaps should not have become a scandal or should not have been given the sort of reception it received, got it, and it was all because of a miscommunication sort of, but more importantly, a misunderstanding of the facts of the case. But I'm sure we'll get into all of that. But
we're
it's been a very eventful week.
Very eventful week. Very eventful week.
Because of
Somebody's chipping in there. I'm sure that's did I offend just chipping in there or something like that? Wasn't it?
No. That was that is us on X.
Yes.
X Spaces.
All right. That's fine. So guys, just to mention, it's begs mention, and also that Chelsea won yesterday in the Conference League. So for all those who are, you can look away if you like. If Chelsea had lost, they'll be here and they'll tell us we spent over 1 billion cedis on. I want me to say 1 billion cedis.
But wait. The guy who missed a chance, his name again is it what?
McGui.
No wonder. Wagudu. No wonder. Is it? It takes me back to somewhere 2012 when Chelsea played Man United. Fernando Torres. Dribble one, dribble two, dribble goalkeeper, and still managed to miss. Empty post.
When I saw the video, our colleague Benaya mentioned, I said, no, that it cannot be true. And I went to see the video. When I saw the video, and I took the phone, I said, don't bully, Charlie, Victor Osimhen. 10.
I mean, he's been training with Jackson, so you have to expect it.
The guy is La Masia.
The guy is he can't.
La Masia products with a release clause of 6 million euros. that was the first red flag.
In fact, he played in a system that had the quality of Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, and Co, and walked into a system that has the quality, with all due respect to players from my village.
No, look. To be fair, Magui's mess yesterday, yes, it was horrendous, but it's not the first time we've seen players miss such chances. It's not the first time. Ronaldo has missed an empty pole before. We've seen it time and time again. So allow the guy. He was born in 2006.
As for patience,
yeah,
we have it too, because his ceiling is high. So we'll give him all the time in the world to climb the ceiling. Charlie is young. He said he was born in 2006. Charlie small boy. Charlie don't stress.
No
pressure. Let him grow. Let him miss. Continue missing. Like we saw Jackson missing this season started. He's still missing. Allow them to miss. They'll grow out of it.
Yasemu.
What is a Yasemu? He's motivating you and saying a Yasemu.
Allow them to make mistakes and grow. Chelsea have decided they will sign players and give them 8 years, 9 years contract. So they'll grow.
9 years,
20 years contract. So
that's how many years contract?
If it's like about 20 years contract, if it's missing in the first 4 months, what does he done?
In fact, if he misfires for the next 5 years, he'll still be
the
contract.
more room for ceiling.
It's okay.
What
It's
is
okay.
okay?
It's okay. It's only conference league. It's only conference league.
Conference
So,
league playoffs.
Yeah.
I qualify it.
Even playoffs.
They're not in the conference league yet.
It's okay.
No, remember last week I said it was a tough draw.
But there was nothing tough about it.
In the first half.
Yeah, there was nothing tough about it.
You,
Yeah.
you needed a penalty. Oh.
And we scored again. We scored
Here-
2
here
goals
we
to
did.
0, man. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's nothing tough about it.
But for the conference league, we need Chelsea to be in there. Yes,
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah, because all of a sudden everybody was talking about the conference league yesterday. Can you
All of a sudden, who and who?
Everybody, look, you're just talking. You exactly went.
Once we're talking, we'll talk about
Yeah.
it.
So we need them to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, man, let's come local. Let's come local. Game plan, guys. Remember that we've been supported by Petrosol, Platinum Energy. Every drop matters. Yes, just as every penny counts. And did you know that good quality fuel enhances your vehicle performance and reduces maintenance cost? Make sure you take no risk in times like this. All you need is value for your money. Look no further. Drive to the next Petrosol Platinum Energy fuel station. Yes, Petrosol for your clean, accurate quantity fuel suitable for new technology vehicles. Be a happy customer. Fuel smiles, drive more miles, and save some money. Petrosol, your clean quality fuel in full quantity. Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. All right, let's get into it. All right, we're going to start from the promises by the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Wide range of promises. In fact, you just want to sift through them. Let me just ask you guys though, which of them caught your attention, and give you time to share your thoughts on it. We've done extensive work on this on Sports Zone, right? On Sports Zone on Monday, we did an extensive work. We realized that some of the promises were overlapping, and there were questions about some of the promises, whether indeed they were thought through. In fact, a general manager of a Premier League side raised concern about some of the promises, and his boss, the owner of the club, who happens to be the Minister for Employment, called him and said, "Chairman, this is my party's manifesto. You can't come and tell us that there's no sense inside. Support it." All right. So, guys, let's get into it. Let me start
No,
with
he
you.
didn't say yes. That's not what he said.
He said the guy
Basically,
said
that's what the club said. The statement, you know.
that's what the general manager. The general manager said.
If
look,
they think Nansa Umwanka, they wouldn't disassociate themselves from
so
it.
they said they
No, but in any case, right? In as much as we will look at this from a political angle, when you find yourself in an institution and you want to go publicly and speak, do not forget that it will be very difficult for people to delink you from the institution you represent. So ensure that in as much as you are an individual, when you speak, your organization accepts it.
That I don't. Interesting, man. You know, be any team like that. You know, be any team like that. Even then they try. They are doing well. They are coming up. Nobody would have Ghanaians. Over 90% of Ghanaians wouldn't have known the link between Instructorman and the current government if the club didn't release that statement. Believe me.
Oh, but many people already know.
Many people don't know. You do sports. When you wake up, that's your job.
Oh, okay.
When you wake up, that's what you do for a living. So you know. The average Ghanaian on the streets go to X. Nobody knew. Who knew? Like, who even cares about Instructorman in any case? I'm being fair.
And you see the stories that were crafted. The stories with headlines said that the club, which belongs to the Minister for Empowerment and
Background.
Labor Relations.
It is called context and background.
I'm saying that for those of us who do this job, those of us in this space,
Yeah.
those of us who have followed the Ghana Premier League, the truth is Ghanaians don't follow the Ghana Premier League. Ghanaians don't follow it. The numbers are there. We see them all the time. People don't even want us to talk about the Ghana Premier League. People didn't even know the link between the club.
In fact,
and the
Ignatius
only
Bafo
other,
Wankas, how many people even know him?
yes. How many people have it's only gone on to add unnecessary, anger from people on X. It's just sometimes some of these the comment that Eric made or his general manager made, by now would have forgotten, would have passed. By now it would have passed.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
It would have passed. But once you release the statements and you fuel it, that is a point where the media will come in with the headlines that exposes that paints the raw picture, the picture even clearer for people to understand where the link is. So for me, sometimes the PR teams should be working. That is if they have.
And just to put the conversation into some context, the general manager of Instructorman is Eric Alagide.
Alagidede.
Alagidede.
Yes.
All right, so that's the general manager, and I think he was responding to. He had
The
an
promise for
interview on
masses.
he had an interview on EIB, one of the platforms on EIB, and it had to do with the promise by the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to provide buses to the Ghana Premier League sides. And he makes the point that, look, a number of the Ghana Premier League sides have got buses, all right? So what the clubs want, and which he personally has been advocating, is some tax rebate for these Premier League clubs, especially when they are going to pick their sporting items from the portal, etc. That's the argument he fronted. So it seemed to suggest that he was undermining the promise by the flag bearer of the NPP to provide buses for the Premier League clubs. He says that is not the main issue. Then the clubs goes on to release a statement saying that the said interview was granted by their general manager in his personal capacity as an industry person and not on behalf of the club as the general manager. And that the club does not subscribe to the opinion of our general manager on the matter and thus disassociates itself from same. They say that Nsoatreman Football Club is a law-abiding corporate entity and therefore compliant with all necessary statutory obligations, including the payment of taxes for the development of the country. That the club fully supports any intervention by government to alleviate the challenges faced by football clubs in the country, including Dr. Bawumia's promise to help each league club acquire a suitable bus for its operations, so that the board of directors of the club will engage the general manager for the purposes of contextual clarity as far as this matter is concerned.
You don't need.
The club wishes further to apologize to all stakeholders and interested parties who have been inadvertently injured. Charlie, you see a proud by this matter.
ACO, boys get ACO for this matter talk.
So the
One
matter.
year,
So really, really interesting.
The comment,
But you see,
it caused serious injury
Yeah.
to people.
Yeah,
let's not veer off topic. Let's
We
stay
are
on
not
the-
veering off topic.
let's stay on the
I'm just
main
providing
issue.
some context, all
Okay.
right? And let's just dovetail that to the promises
Yes.
by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. All right. Let me just highlight a few of them. Then we just get into some of them. And Atsu, I'll come to you to start with you because you did an extensive work on that. Now, if you look at it, one of them, he says he's going to establish a statutory sports development fund to ensure sustainable financing. He also says that he's going to provide tax incentives to attract corporate institutions to invest in sports. He also says that he's going to implement a lower flat tax rate for football clubs and sports entities. He further says that he will support the payment of player salaries through policy direction involving the National Lottery Authority and the Gaming Commission as part of the Bawumia government direct support to Ghana Premier League clubs and players. He further says he will provide each Premier League club with a bus as a form of direct support. And he also says he will establish the Ghana School Sports Secretariat with dedicated funding to ensure effective school-based grassroots sports development in collaboration with the GES. He also says he will launch the Operation Olympic Games Glory program in 2025 to prepare Ghanaian athletes for the 2028 Olympics, focusing on disciplines where Ghana has a competitive advantage. And maybe let me just mention the final one or so. He'll continue the expansion of sports infrastructure initiated by the previous government, and he mentions Sunyani and the 6 other regions as places where he will build a stadium and continue with the expanding AstroTurf projects across the constituencies. He also talk about implementing an effective maintenance model to ensure that national, regional, and community sports facilities are well managed and maintained. So these are, like, if you want to call it, the 10 solutions or promises, policies that he's looking to implement when he comes into power. Atsu, let me get your take on this and tell us what you found out looking at the 2016 manifesto, 2020 manifesto, and why you believe some of the promises could have been done even in the 8 years they were in power.
Okay, so I was going to just review the promises on as individual items, but since you want us to start from what they have said in the past, we'll start from there, and then we'll get back to the main anchors of the 4 anchors of his plan for sports. So when this thing came on, Joy Sports, we decided to go back and look at what they had said in the past and what they had done. And it looked too familiar. Like the promises themselves, from 1 to 10, they looked too. At first glance, it looked like we had seen this somewhere before. So we delved into the campaign manifesto from 2016 and then from 2020. At least about 4 of the prominent ones are promises that were made but were not delivered, that have been reworded and presented to us as new promises. So the very first one about the involvement of the private sector, we first heard about this from the NPP in 2016. At that time, the phrase or the sentence was encouraging the private sector to provide funding for sports through establishment of incentive packages, as well as creating a sports fund to support the financing of sports. Now they are saying that use tax incentives again. So the same incentive packages, now they perhaps qualified it by saying tax incentives, including a flat tax to incentivize private sector investment in sports and tourism. And I think yesterday, Kujo Fiano was on GBC and he said going forward, Premier League clubs are not going to pay the 17.5 that they have to pay from their gates proceeds, and that they are going to work with a flat tax rate. But we didn't get any more details beyond what was said. The second thing
Hang on, before you proceed. Is Kujo Fiano a member of the NPP Manifesto Committee?
No.
So, if he says that
you cannot dismiss.
No, it's a voice you cannot dismiss. But if he says that they are no longer going to pay,
Is
he's
it
saying that as who?
Exactly.
Yeah, is it saying that because of there's been some changes to the tax relating to the Premier League clubs, or what was he saying?
The standard practice we've known over time, and I think there were attempts to change it, was the 17.5.
Yes.
Right, from the gates proceeds. Now Kujo Fiano is saying that effective next season, they are going to, and next season is September, they are going to scrap that, but work with a flat rate. What percentage or what that means in practical terms, he did not elaborate on. But it is just relevant context because it is consistent with the conversation that we're having about taxes, even if this specific one is on private sector and all of that. The second point that I think was also repeated was the promise of development of sports infrastructure. In fact, in 2016, the wording from the manifesto was pursuing the vision of providing more modern multi-sport stadia for the regions currently without one. So they named the Bono Hafo region Eastern, Upper East, Upper West, and the Volta regions. 8 years down the line, they did not do this. So this was a promise from 2016 that they will build stadiums for the other regions that do not have them, but they failed to deliver on that promise. Unfortunately, we did not get any explanation on why this didn't happen and what the issues were at the time, or what the issues have been over the last 8 years. This time around, they've brought that back. They've said that they are going to build 5,000, or they are going to build 6 5,000-seater capacity standard stadiums for the new regions. So what I find problematic here is that not only have they said this in the past and have failed to do, when they have said this, they have failed to tell Ghanaians where the funding for this is going to come from, how much each stadium is going to cost, and the kind of stadiums we are looking to build.
When we get there, we'll cross the bridge.
No. The point of using that language of when we get there is when you are at the consultation stage, right? Is when you are bouncing those ideas off. But the moment you climb that manifesto platform or that campaign platform, the moment this document becomes public, it should not just be enough to tell us that you are going to do this, because in the past you said saying.
What does the what do you call it? The multi-purpose.
No, that
use resource centers.
Yeah, what does that fit into?
We'll come to that. That's even a different matter. They have said that they are going to build 6 5,000 capacities, and I've got questions about the sources of funding, how much it is going to cost to build these stadiums, and the kind of stadiums they are looking to build. Because in 8 years, when they said they were going to do a similar project, they didn't do it. We didn't get an understanding of where the money is going to come from. And these questions are important because as we speak, over 90% of the sports ministry's budget goes into salaries and compensations. So once they pay salaries and other contractual obligations to service providers and whatnot, the ministry's money is done. It's finished. Every other expenditure on sports comes from the consolidated fund. That is why not every event gets backing from government. Right?
Yeah.
So if it is a matter of significant public interest like the Black Stars, that one, there's no question. They will buy the tickets for Kudus and Co to come and play the matches. They will put them on first class. Whatever the cost, they will dip their hands into the consolidated fund. But if it is boxing, if it is cycling, they will not be able to. The finance ministry is going to say no to them. Now, I would expand this a bit on the third point, which is the issue of sports funds. So in 2016, again, they indicated that they are going to encourage private sector to provide funding for sports through the establishment of incentive packages, as well as creating a sports fund to support the financing of projects. And 2024, in fact, the difference is that they use a different word, or a phrase: establish a sports fund to develop sport infrastructure, talent and grassroots sports programs, including the river. So it's what they want to do that they have reworded, or they've expanded.
No,
expanded it
they've
now.
microwaved. So between the promise in 2016 is now cold.
Yeah,
so in 2024 they had to microwave it so that it's a little hot.
The
Warm.
problem I have had with this is that for 8 years we have been talking about, and journalists have been talking about, the need for a sport development fund with significant practical revenue sources. Right?
Yeah.
If for 8 years all we had were 2 consultative sessions that yielded nothing, at the very least, we need to know what you did in the past that did not work, and why you think this time around we should take you seriously because you're actually going to be able to do it. Because everywhere in the world, manna does not fall from heaven. Those who are intentional about sports, you have a clearly defined sports development fund with clearly stipulated revenue sources. Right?
Yeah.
So what they needed, and there's still time, what they need to do is to tell us that this is where money is going to come from for us to create. Look, and you are not limited to work with one central fund or one revenue source. I have an idea. The last time I was saying it on Prime Sports Extra on our Saturday morning show, that you see this idea that they want to scrap the betting tax. I disagree. The initial anger has died anyway. People have stopped complaining about it, like we always do. As for the tax, we will pay, but if we disagree, we will state our opinions. And people did at the time. The betting tax is the only source of income that is directly generated from the sports industry. So if you say you are going to create a sports development fund, one of the easy things to do, because this one, it is there, it is the lowest of the hanging fruits that you have, of the low hanging fruits that you have, is to say that, okay, then we are going to already channel this into the central fund as one of the sources of income. So annually, you know that X amount of money is coming here. So that is your solution. That one is practical. And I'm not saying this is the idea they should use, but I'm saying tell us what the revenue streams are. Right? In the UK, people like to mention how lottery is a significant component of how they fund sports. What is ours? So if you are going to scrap the 10% on betting tax, what is the alternative as your revenue sources? So there needs to be that communication. And you see, that sports funding, the fact that we do not have a sports fund is central to a lot of the problems that we have had.
It's true.
When I get to the issues about the Olympic bits, you will understand. And that's the next point I'm going to talk about. They said they want to start an Olympic Glory project. And my question is this. We have gone through 2 Olympic cycles under this government. And each has been dominated by scandals. We've had Commonwealth Games, we've had major competitions where almost every time it ends in disgrace. In 2018, at the Gold Coast Games, if this government did not have any idea about some of the extent of the problems that we had, 2018 was a rude awakening. It taught them, it told all of us that, look, we're nothing. We don't have anything when it comes to sports. We are not a football nation. We are not a sports nation. We don't have anything set there. So we need to now set a foundation in place, find a structure, find a funding plan to support that structure. What happened in Gold Coast was that we took a bunch of cyclists to the games who did not have the appropriate equipment to compete. Now, I took it upon myself to go back to what happened at that time. What happened was that Peter Spencer, he was a native of Australia, who was a member of the GC Bike Fit organization. He decided to run a GoFundMe to raise money to buy the appropriate equipment, the fiber bikes, for Ghana's athletes to compete at the Commonwealth Games. And I'm going to read to you the statement that accompanied, that is on the, if you can check the GoFundMe website right now. The name is Peter Spencer. He said that there are 2 ways to get behind the Ghana cycling team. 1, donating parts, equipment, shoes, clothing, etc. for them to compete. Number 2, donating money for the purchase of one. He was able, when I checked today, he was able to reach $6,151, which would not be enough for the entire team. But this was a national team.
Yeah.
And a citizen of another country had to create a GoFundMe to fund the cost of participating or procuring equipment that our athletes were going to use for games as big as the Commonwealth Games.
So substantially, we need to have a very, very big conversation on funding for sports.
So for me,
and source of funding for sports.
Yes.
Because you did an extensive work on the youth resource centers.
Yeah.
Why it has, been uncompleted is largely because of funding. It says the District Assembly Common Fund is supposed to take care of it. The District Assembly Common Fund says funds are not released by the finance minister, and for that reason, the facilities have been left.
In fact, that one, it has gone on.
When I spoke to the administrator,
completely different dimensions
at the moment in terms of the funding.
Yes. So last December, President Kufuor said that they were going to release monies. So as far as we are concerned, so we'll come and ask you. When I asked Natoshi, she said they don't have money, but even if money comes, they have priorities. And the youth resource centers are not one of them. It's been 7 years. It's been 6 years, right? Since then, only one of the facilities has been completed, and that is Koforidua.
And even one that is like 90% complete cannot even be opened.
Look, I'm just going to conclude by talking about the stadiums and the pitches that they say they are going to manage in a better manner. In less than 2 weeks, the Black Stars are going to play Angola in Kumasi. The playing surface is horrible. Yesterday I heard Seth Panwu talk about, I don't want to say he was lying, but what he was saying, it is not true. You cannot restore that pitch in 2 weeks. There is no mechanism in the world that will restore the playing surface at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium to the FIFA standard.
Baba Yara Sports Stadium has never been FIFA standard before.
But that's what he was saying.
No, so but truth is they can restore it to to Baba Yara standard.
To play,
which is no standard.
To play.
So
but the idea that you can restore that,
because they will color. But if they color in you, what choose? But it's true. They color every day.
It's not about the coloring.
The perception out there is that once you see a green surface and it looks grown, it means we don't.
That is what he's saying that they will restore it to.
That's why for me it's important that we tell people that look, these things they are lying to you. What you see there, it is horrible work. The fact that CAF is able to make certain concessions and say you go and play later, we'll fine you, doesn't mean that they have done a good job. If you have any plan for managing our facility, give it to the NSA. The NSA there, I don't believe everybody there is incompetent, but it is a horribly funded organization. They are not resourced enough. Yes, they have some of their own issues that are but which organization in Ghana doesn't anyway? Right. So what we need to do is to strengthen the National Sports Authority, improve their capacity, and look, the central theme in this conversation is money for the NSA. It is not there are regulations that the NSA is the functioning arm of the sports ministry. You don't need to now come and create a different structure. You will be duplicating their functions. They are there. If you have any support system, give it to them. And
the support is money. Let me come to you, Sitso or Muftawu. Which of you would like to have your take now?
No, actually, if I'm going to talk, I'm going to touch on some things that are...
Wait. So if you come to talk, you touch on it.
Oh, no, but wait. If you talk, I might come to you. So
wait.
I just want to mention something. You talk.
No, I want you, and I'm begging you to wait. I will talk. No, wait. I don't beg you.
Okay, you are the guest. Talk. You are the guest. Talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your hospitality. I guess. Look, I listened to the manifesto of the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Bawumia, the vice president. And for me, my biggest disappointment is, and I said it last time on Monday, that The honesty I wanted to feel and hear from his manifesto, having been in power in 8 years, was a vice president who is now vying to be a president, speaking to Ghanaians about something that is progressing, that he will require another term, a new term, more time to finish or perhaps continue. So from all the promises that he was a part of from 2016 and 2020, I was expecting that in this manifesto, the now flag bearer and the man vying to be president of Ghana would tell all sports lovers, and maybe you can go across other sectors, but this is sports zone, so let's stick to sports, that, oh, you remember in 2016 we said we'll do A, B, C, and D, and by 2020 we are done up to C. So if you give us the power, the good work that we are doing, we will finish it, so that it will help us be competitive at the next Olympics, so that it will help us bring out talents to compete. We saw the basketball championship at the Olympics. So you're all celebrating South Sudan. When unfair South Sudan the ball basketball now the Nigeria baby girls are playing. I say something Eagles. You are not shy, so that the vice president will tell us that
the tigress.
And you're not shy. That Ghana, you are hyping Nigerian baby girls. You're not shy. But you have the same baby girls are here. Oh, baby girls, but you're going waste. Look, I was expecting that the VIP would tell us that the job they've been doing from 2016, if we give him another term, by the time his tenure is done, the new Olympic whatever they want to create, he would have been telling us that based on the groundwork they've done, they can finish that by so and so. My man is giving me brand new microwaved refurbished promises. I have look, in my right senses, I can't believe it. That there is no justification to believe what he read, because most of the things he read were read in 2016 and in 2020, and he's not come back to tell us what they've been doing. Look, when you are in power, it's a different ball game. Your promises are promises. When you start, there can be problems that hinders the completion, the progress of it, right? So if we're expecting to finish something in 4 years, it can take 7 years. If we're expecting to finish something in 8 years, it can take 10 years. But at least people would see the progress. People would see the work being done. So for a sitting government, when they are campaigning, their campaign should be based on the job they've done in the last 8 years. So because the last 8 years is gone, we won't wipe it out of our history. Everything. So wait, when you read their manifesto, it's almost as if everything happened in the last 8 years make we forget.
And there is a certain disconnect from the current government and what Bawumia wants to do.
And it won't work. You see, Bawumia wasn't on the fringes. You were the vice president of the sitting government.
He is, please.
He is the vice president of the sitting government.
Thank you.
You get it? If the opposition party or any senior man chada is campaigning and saying some of these things, I'll cut him all the slack. Because he come here before, we want votes before. So he can start afresh. But when you are in power and you've been in power for close to 8 years, you can't start afresh. It's not possible. You can't have a fresh start. You have to be telling us what you need more time in office to complete. You have to go back to the promises you made in 2020, double it back to the last 8 years, the promises you made in 2016, and tell us the things you delivered and why you couldn't deliver others and why you need time to deliver them. So if you told me that you made 10 sports promises, you delivered 4 of them, and this is why you couldn't deliver the other 6. But this is the groundwork you've done. This is the hindrance. But this would be the solution if you give me the. I'm sitting back. I'm like, no man, hard guy.
You're a dope guy.
Charlie, true. Like he did A, he did B, he did C. So Charlie, I want progress. But look, when you come back and you microwave everything for me, I can't side with you.
What about the argument some make that, as you mentioned, he is the vice president. There is the final say when it comes to where funding goes to. Atsu makes reference to speaking to the DACF, talking about priorities. And it does seem to suggest, if you look at the amount of money that the final authority, in this case, President Akufo-Addo, he seems to have channeled lots of his resources to education, because as the president, that is his priority, and he seems to be spending money in that regard. And in this case, Bawumia comes and says that when I become the president, where I have the final say, I am going to prioritize these things, and for which reason I've captured them in my manifesto. What will you say?
That told us that he will finish them.
Thank you very much for the question.
It's coming to food.
No, you see, the promises of the outgoing president, right, and his running mates, the promises were for the two of them. Oh. It was for the two of them. Now, the second thing is, that is what they promised as a political party as well. And you see, for me, I don't believe in it's a Bawumia show. It's an NPP show. That's what I'm saying. I kept saying the sitting government. Why they need? It's an NPP show. You were all on board on the promises you made in 2016 and in 2020. Right? Now, if the current vice president comes into power and he delivers in another sector, another person told me that, oh, it was his campaign message. No, it is MPP's manifesto. Right? We need to start holding these political parties to be accountable for the things they promised that they would do. And I'm saying that he was a vice president for a manifesto that we didn't see manifest from 2016 to 2020, and now in 2024, my guy is telling me that the things that he said he would do, he's now coming to start them. Charlie, time they go.
It passed.
We are in 2024, Boga. We are in 2024. The things that should have been done in 2016. My senior man is telling me 2024. So that is where I have a little problem with. And I get it. Of course, obviously, the final say wouldn't be him. But when you are VIP, I expect that you see through some of the promises they are making. So in all honesty, what have you done in sports, right, that would make me believe? In the last 8 years, Ghana has seen its worst time in sports, probably in the history of the country. In the last 8 years, so seriously, Charlie, we've missed one World Cup. Russia, we don't go. All the AFCONs we've gone, we've not. Yeah, all the AFCONs under 17 some way. No, seriously, all the Olympics, some of them we know this one, the current one some way. But Charlie, in the last 8 years, it's probably the worst period in Ghana's history in sports.
Well, they make reference also to infrastructure. They talk about the number of astroturfs they've built. They talk about the facility they put out at Boteman. They talk about.
It's almost like you're setting them up.
Okay, so
but it's real. No, it's not like I'm setting up. But it's real.
So, Musbau,
They talk about less than 5 astroturfs they came to meet. Now it's in excess of 100.
Because we didn't need 100 astroturfs in this country. We didn't need 100. Look at the communities they are building these astroturfs. Boys can't even play on them. People have to drive from other places to come and play because they can't pay to use the places. Natural talents can't play. Natural talents have to play around the gutters now because the park that should have been left as a community park, develop them as community parks for boys to go and play just like that, have been turned into substandard astroturfs that can't even host, that are not even qualified to host proper football games. Look, when we go into that matter, the sports, the new boy, they've killed sports more than they think. The 100 astroturfs hasn't solved anything. No.
It's 150, please.
Charlie, see, the 200 astroturfs.
That's why you look at me.
It's created more problems. I'm telling you, look, I play football every time in Jowulu. I live at Atsirim. I left office in Silicon. I drive to Jowulu and go and play. Do you know those of us who play there? The boys in the work for airports. The boys there. You won't see the Jowulu boys, young boys playing. They can't come there because after every night we are paying like 800 cedis or something. How would they pay? And these astroturfs are not just there open for anybody to walk on and play. So when you talk about developing grassroots, it is the freedom these young boys and girls have to work and share themselves, 7 aside, 5 aside, small posts, and start. That is what develops the free skill. That is what develops the natural ability. When you sell all those lands for real estate developers, or you turn them into astroturfs, and these 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds have to pay money to play. You've not done any good. AstroTurfs, 150, it could have been managed. If in Accra, we have about 10 well-distributed, proper AstroTurfs, all the better. Other regions, few of them here and there, properly planned, but the playgrounds in communities are left to serve the communities and the young ones. We're in a better place. So doing 150 AstroTurfs, you've done plenty, but the effect of it, Enko Bibia.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start from, Seth. Okay, so I think there's fire here, there's fire here. So make a come middle, can't douse the fire small. Musbau, from where I sit, I agree with Sitso when he says that as a party, the NPP should have at least told Ghanaians what they've been able to do, what is left, and why they need power to be able to execute those things. But one area that I would like to touch is the fact that when Atsu was going through the manifestos of 2016, 2020, and 2024, some of them were overlapping, and they just needed to change the words a bit. From where I sit, I believe that for the party to continually promise Ghanaians that this is what they want to do, why you look at me?
But you are the one talking. You have our attention.
So we should look at you. If you get somebody, chat with them.
You are the one talking. You have our attention. We have to look at you. Go on.
For the party to continually tell Ghanaians that I want to establish a sports fund, I want tax rebate for the sporting sector, right? It kind of suggests that this is a party that is in one way or the other committing to providing this. That is why there's a certain level of consistency in having it in every single manifesto that they've been able to produce since 2016. From where I see it, this is how I see it. And I believe that if the consultative meeting that we had with Isaac Isiama in 2017, when we went to the Accra International Conference Center, if the party has not been able to execute it, to put together that sports fund that they want to do, and they believe that when we come to power again in 2024, this is something we want to have in place to be able to get money to sort out the sporting industry. If the NPP government, and I recall just in December, right? In December, there was a verbal proposal. I don't know if they have documented it. There was a verbal proposal to the president that the betting tax you mentioned that they shouldn't scrap, they want part of it to go into the sports fund. This is a fund you've not even created yet, and you're promising to create. But they said they want a part of it to go into that sports fund. So if that conversation with the president that they had in December 2023 is anything to go by, and based on this manifesto that they have brought out and said that if they are given the power, they want to set up a sports fund, then clearly I believe that one source of the money that they will be getting to put in that sports fund should be the betting thing. But here it is. They've told us that they want to scrap it. I agree with you that this is something they shouldn't scrap. Go to Kenya. In Kenya, they were taxing people who were betting close to 27% of your winnings. Why would the money that would be generated from the sport industry be scrapped when that can easily be the area for you to make money? When you read their manifesto, they talk about the Gaming Commission and the national lotteries. Just maybe they want to scrap the betting tax, but rather take money from Gaming Commission and national lotteries. Hold on.
They said that they are. See, we didn't get to that part. What they said was that they are going to create. See, these people settings. Because
I'm the one on the floor.
They are going to create jobs at the Premier League clubs, and they are going to help the Premier League clubs pay specifically salaries. That is not the same as saying that you are going to use earnings or revenue from lotteries, right, as a source of or one of the revenue streams for your central sports fund. Those are completely. One is talking about expenditure. The other is talking about taxation, right? The sports fund will require revenue sources, and everywhere in the world, a lot of these policies, the sources are from taxes. So for me, be it betting tax or whatever, it makes sense that you will channel some revenue from tax somewhere there. I'm just saying to you that the mention of the lotteries, as we saw in the manifesto, it has nothing to do with the sports development fund. Rather, it is about jobs that they say they are going to create, and also help Premier League clubs to pay people's salaries.
Yeah, and to be precise, it says that to support the payment of player salaries through policy direction involving the National Lottery Authority and the Gaming Commission as part of the Bawumia government direct support to the Ghana Premier League clubs and players. So,
does this sound anything remotely
relax? So only those two organizations, the thousands of players we've got in the they want that. No, but that's quite an interesting one too. but on a more serious note, I believe that some of the things they said were quite weird. One of them is buying buses for clubs. I would subscribe to you using my money to build a stadium that will benefit an entire community or an entire region, instead of using my money to buy a bus for someone's football club. I do not subscribe to the opinion that they want to improve our pitches. There's a National Sports Authority.
Muftawu, these people.
That National Sports Authority has been there for how many years?
Forever.
And what have they done to ensure that the National Sports Authority becomes an agency that is able to maintain our facilities up to the standard required as we speak? You've all mentioned it. We do not have any international standard or FIFA standard playing surface in this country.
150 astroturfs.
Yeah, we have 150 astroturfs.
Fantastic.
Yes. But that one there.
Look, Muftawu, let's just
all right, guys.
Let
Let's just
me
make some
finish.
progress so we can.
Let me finish.
Yeah, Mufti, just round up for us.
I would always be on the side of people who demand for tax rebates for sporting organizations in this country. And last week, I was talking about an off-record conversation I had with Keto Kreko. In as much as it was an off-record conversation, I think he will be happy to hear me say that the buses that he has bought to share to Ghanaian clubs, when they got to the port, they had to use money from the FA, or I don't know, from his personal pocket to clear those buses. Those buses are in. Why would buses that are bought to support football in the country having to be cleared by the institution which governs football in this country, when that money could have been used to improve football better? Again, we spoke about the Olympic Games, where the Ghana Olympic Committee were asked to pay about 21,000 euros to be able to clear the equipment that Team Ghana was going to use at the Olympic Games. So for tax rebates, I would always be behind it. But we've had different governments promise tax rebates without necessarily having the commitment to do it. Hopefully, when Dr. Bawumia is given the mandate to lead this country, what we have seen in blue and black, because in their manifesto, when you go through it, the words are in blue and black. What we have seen in blue and black do not remain blue and black, but they become actions that would serve the interests of Ghanaian sports. Because, trust me, we all flew to Qatar because the Black Stars was there. In Russia 2018, there was only one Ghanaian journalist who was there.
Not all of us went because...
I said some of us.
You say we all... why we feel
so I am qualifying the we as sports... Are you a journalist?
No.
So stay out.
So if you're talking about Ghanaians, they are...
so some of us...
Because some of us, without Ghana in the US World Cup or not, some of us we are...
Yeah. In fact, when you went to see...
So now they will be calling me saying, Charlie, you went to see that Jetstar game, how far? Even though Ghana low days. The other time I just need to black.
No.
All right, guys. Let me just read some comments.
That era is actually a serious conversation we must have.
Yeah.
It's been there since the days of Kwesi Ntechi. It's
there's
been there since the days of the late MND Jaula, Nana Butler. All these people have always asked different governments for tax rebates to be able to clear stuff that will represent the country, the interests of the country. Let me apologize to Keto Kreko for saying this publicly, but I think it serves the interests of the people that the Ghana Football Association, Puma, when they send us JC, the JC belongs to the Black Stars. You want the Ghana Football Association to pay tax before they clear those JCs for the team to wear. It makes absolutely no sense to anyone.
No, wait.
Like I said,
there are two things. Is it the clearing charges at the port or the tax? The taxes are inclusive of all those charges when you are paying at the port.
Yes.
everything.
Now, good. Now, so we need to see the reason why I have a certain level of understanding why no government can easily implement it. See, if they like, they should start. They'll stop. Do you know why? This same challenge is a different topic.
No.
This same will take advantage of that system, eh? And the
they'll
kind
be
of thing they
sneaking
will be
equipment.
importing under the list of the clubs, the names, because over the time you've made it clear that football is for football people. You've made, you see that conversation. If we enter the,
Sitso.
we go talk politics.
So your
Sitso.
concern is
Sitso.
abuse of
that
it.
that conversation can
But
be
we
had.
can. We can. You see, we can
See,
do it.
So what we
and be
must do,
strict about
what we
it.
must do, what we must do, is the very important that I've always been saying: the synergy between Ghana football and the government, and seeing sports as a national project. The moment we start seeing sports as a side gig, somebody's personal business, we have a football people, Black Stars, we pay with the do the Hearts and Kotoko, we want a league. Look, no government. Why should I when I import my things to go to my site? Why should I pay the tax? And when you import things for your football
should get a
club,
waiver.
which is your business, that is where you make your profits. Why should you get a waiver? What the job you do them, my job you do.
Sitso.
Are we not always all
Sitso.
serving the country? So we need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
The government needs a stake, a huge stake in our football, whether local football or national football. Otherwise, don't come and talk to us about those tax rebates. No.
So Sitso, hang on. Just a quick one. The government has got a responsibility towards the youth of Ghana.
Yes, facts.
Every single talent. If Sitso decides to set up his club to give Ghanaian youth an opportunity of having a source of livelihood,
Yeah.
Sitso is supporting government or helping government in achieving its objective of helping every single Ghanaian youth.
Should I rephrase it?
So just a quick one. One thing I want you to understand is that as an entity, let's not even go too far. The Ministry of Health,
Yes.
some people donated some
Yes.
drugs or whatever to them.
Yes.
It became a major issue because they were at the port for years.
Yes. Agreed.
In whose interest was it for those medicine to be cleared? Right?
Agreed.
It was for the Ghanaian interest, isn't it?
Agreed.
So here, the Black Stars that represent all of us and sell the brand Ghana to the whole world. Puma sends us jersey. You ask the Ghana Football Association to pay.
Those
to
are
clear.
don't mix
I'm
it.
coming.
No,
I'm
relax.
not-
Let him land.
I'm not
Let him
mixing
land.
it.
Let him land.
I'm
Let
not
him
mixing
land.
it.
Don't mix it.
Wait.
No,
Don't
brother,
mix
land.
it.
I'm not mixing it.
Yes,
I'm not.
you
I'm-
go on.
If you want to see the things that need
I am
No,
not
let him
mixing
land.
it.
Let him land. Let
I'm
him
not
land.
mixing it.
Yes.
I'm not mixing it. Puma sends us jersey. You ask the Ghana Football Association, right, to pay to clear those jerseys for the players to wear. In whose interest is it for the national team to go out there and represent the country?
Okay, so
It's not government.
Here's why I was saying that.
Let me start with what you said.
And
if I open my
I'm not
company-
going to sign out. I'm going to sign out. Let me sign out, and you can go all coming. It's a nice conversation that we are coming. Let me sign out with this, right? If Sitso, like the example I cited earlier, if Sitso sets up a company and Sitso has some individual somewhere through the finance ministry, and the Auditor General report actually revealed some humongous amount of money that was given to people as tax waivers and for them to clear their everything for free. When you read some of those things and you see what some individuals do to help Ghanaian youth through sports, and you still agree that those people should pay taxes to clear their goods, Charlie, the conversation, it takes us to a different level.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let's not mix it. Some things have not been done right, or some things are not being done right.
Yeah.
There are some people who are getting this waivers that I don't think they deserve it. There are some that are calling for it that I don't think they also deserve it. What I'm saying is, until sports becomes a national project, and we stop this individualism. When you go to the FA is all about the president and the people who are there. In which serious country do you know the English FA chairperson? It is the Prince of Wales. It's from his office that they operate. But the people doing the job, do you know them? Portugal, the Manifesto president, you know them. Egypt, the Manifesto president, you know them. You see, when we make it a national, Morocco's deputy finance minister, he's the one running the Royal Football Federation of Morocco.
He's now the finance minister, sir.
It's now the finance minister. It's a national agenda. So when Morocco are importing things to use for national issues, it's a national thing. Our Black Stars is not a national agenda. Let's not confuse it, because we are still running football as some group B
against them.
Yes, so it's some group B them our own, and until they break that group, they know themselves. Until they break that cage and open it up for us to have it as a national agenda, that thing won't happen. Forget it. And on the drugs issue, when you bring drugs to the port, drugs is if the hospital,
essential services.
Who is it for? The drugs, even for those who are sick. It's not benefit. It's for those who are sick. It's a different matter. If I open my company, I'm running my company, I'm employing people, I'm paying them. It's also benefiting government. So your company is a football club. You are paying footballers. You two are also helping government the other way. If I'm importing things, do they give me the same benefit that they give you? No. Why? Because it's not a national agenda. My company is not a national agenda. It's only helping the cake. So until football or sports becomes a national agenda backed with policies, forget it. So the football people and the sports people should stop locking the thing in their own boardroom and calling themselves football people.
You see where
you see Sitso, you see
the policy.
You see
where
the
I agree with
you see
Sitso
there's
is
this
the
point.
policy. We should draft a policy that suits every industry,
Yes.
especially for sports.
Yes.
Because I would
Until then they will pay tax.
Yeah, they have to pay tax. Yeah, you see, and Sitso, I just have to make this point so that we can just progress the conversation. That this whole issue about tax waivers, there are companies that get tax waivers, and every now and then the members of parliament refer to it. The finance minister presents companies that they say should get tax waivers.
Yes.
Some companies, that's why some companies are in the free zones.
Yes.
All right, and
Musbau,
it's in the same spirit.
as we
It's
speak.
in the same spirit
Yes.
that some of these football people are saying that, look, because of what we are capable of doing with our football clubs, all right, because of what we are capable of doing to our football clubs. For instance, Sitso, your company might employ, depending on its level, if it's an SME, can employ maybe 50 to 100 people. But a football club is capable of employing at least to the number of 200.
No,
and they say that
that's not even the only thing. Muftawu versus Sitso FC, right? If I'm traveling with a 30-man contingent that weekend, the impact our match will have on that community and the people
terms of
who
the
stand
economic
to benefit, the pure water seller, the transport driver, the hotels around, the impact that match alone would have, right? Trust me,
It's
it is
massive.
more than an individual who has employed 50 people.
No.
but I think
Because our contribution
You see,
is
you see
completely
all the talk in
different.
this conversation, how it has degenerated into this, is because the people who put this document together, they didn't connect it. So there are too many loopholes there. So if you look at the document, this is supposed to be their plan for sports. This thing, it won't fly as even level 100. We won't even fly at that level. And it just goes to show that no proper consultation was done.
But
Because-
isn't that what they talk about when they talk about the tax
Musbau, please,
incentives they want to
telling the
give
Ghana football
to Premier League
Association.
clubs? Isn't that what they're talking about?
As Jersey, and they ask the GFA to come and clear them and pay money and we play. They shouldn't clear them.
Look,
We'll see what the Blasters
for
will
me,
wear and play.
see, even the tax issue is just one matter,
Yeah.
right?
If you got the government
What
goods.
they needed to communicate with this manifesto was a central plan that they are going to run. So based on that plan, then you have that fund that is going to fuel the plan that you say you have and how you are going to execute it. And for me, and I encourage everyone to just interrogate that manifesto, compare it to what they've said they've done in the past, and see if that manifesto on its own looks like anything that can solve even 20% of the problems, or that can attempt to, not even solve, that can attempt to solve even 20% of the problems that we have.
All right, guys. Well, let me just read some messages coming in. Some of you very much enjoying the conversation here. Someone says the Youth and Sports Minister has issues. He can't, He said much less. Okay. Is that as for the people in Swantraman, if they can't stand really stated by the administrator, then please read Oh, okay. Well, message not too clear there. Maybe just try and get it clear for us. This one says, "Good afternoon, guys. Top show by all standards. Thanks. I always look forward to it. By the way, Ghana has proven that we are not serious about sports. Where what all these promises of the government is just a mere plot to deceive innocent Ghanaians. The fact that the current manifesto doesn't draw a progress from the past is a lack of proper structure and vision. In Ghana, we do things in a disjointed manner. For example, a country where we have President Cup, Parliament Cup, soon Judiciary Cup, and so Cup. But we won't invest these monies into lay down structures like FA Cup." And he says it's a joke. What's the use of all those, useless trophies to the clubs? We can't organize FA Cup, brand it as the President Cup, and make and fix the final match to around. Okay, I get the point you're trying to make. Okay, yeah. Then this one says. I think those of us in the sports industry have not done much when it comes to sports policy and accountability. There is a 22% component of the National Health Insurance Law, Act 852, reserved for youth and sports development. But because those in sports do not follow to explore those funds, the government does not channel those money to those areas. Remember how someone took the government to the Supreme Court on the utilization of the GET fund? He says, "I believe that when it comes to sources of funds, we have several from the various statutory funding sources, including the telecommunications service funds, gaming funds, lottery, etc." And that's Saidu Adamu with our message there. He says, there is some dedicated funding, especially the National Health Insurance. Okay, this one says... Okay, message seems to have disappeared. What?
There is some additional information from our friend Sadiq Adams about the funding for the multi-purposes from the District Assembly's Common Fund.
All right, I'm coming. Let me just read this one then, so that we can just add that to it.
Okay.
Okay, I think this one says, "Enjoy your show." Okay, this one is direct to Sitso. Sitso, I'm sure you can see the message yourself. He said, "Please ask Sitso how I can get 1 million followers on my new YouTube account."
Hold on, if I text Ronaldo.
No. I beg, just build a profile like Ronaldo.
If I text Ronaldo, Charlie, I beg now, because right now the guy is at 33.4 million.
Charlie, wow. He says, "Good afternoon, guys. Sitso has hit the nail right at the head. These MP people are full of settings." Charlie Emfa. Shout outs to Sitso.
Big shout, Daniel.
From
big
McCarthy. All right, guys. We have to take a very quick break, and we'll come back. Actually, we'll get that information you've got for us from our colleague Sadiq Adams. But remember, keep your messages coming through to 030-221-6541, and we will message on 055 1111 997. I beg your pardon. And also remember that Chopbox Technologies Limited, if you're a parent or family member with a loved one in boarding school, then this is for you. Stop struggling to get provisions or books to them on time. Just try Chopbox. It's an easy to use online platform available on Android and iOS, designed for your convenience. With Chopbox, you can buy books and provisions, take advantage of quick buy with pre-packaged packages, send thoughtful messages, birthday packages, all delivered directly to your school. Plus, our new durable plastic Chopboxes are specially designed to fight against bed bugs and mold. Say goodbye to wooden boxes and switch to plastic. You can visit www.chopboxonline.com or download the Chopbox app now. Search Chopbox Online. For customer support, call or WhatsApp us at 030-222-39134 or 053-047-4694. Chopbox, a convenient service for students nationwide. Convenient wholesale available for business, event, restaurant, bars, and households. All right, guys, you're still listening to Game Plan, and we have so much to talk about. Second week of the English Premier League is upon us, pretty much upon us, and we'll see. But stay with us. Musbau and the guys are still here. Well, just some final issue relating to the African Games. It has to do with some $4.5 million that was allegedly spent on the game management system, and that has also generated some debate. Also, the $50 million that was spent on the feeding of athletes And of course, there was the back and forth between GBC and the Ministry of Youth and Sports on the money that was paid to GBC for the coverage of the African Games. That was in excess of $3 million. So you're talking about something about $20 million cumulatively, or in terms of all the issues involved here, $21 million maybe. Well, guys, let's get into it. I think the GBC Ministry of Youth and Sports thing has been clarified to some extent, fair to say. Do you all agree on that? Good.
I don't know if it's something. The GVC and the Ministry of Youth and Sports thing. No, the difference is that people confuse broadcasting rights to production costs.
So there's no loopholes.
No. You and I understand. How many people understood that you produce a product and you sell to buyers? So GBC, people are saying that, oh, when you organize competition, instead of GBC coming to give the ministry money, the ministry rather gave them money.
Journalists were plenty, no.
And
you misinform people.
That's the point. And we keep misinforming people. So the production cost was what was $3.6 million. So let's assume that the multimedia group now went to GBC to buy the right
to show the game.
To show. So GBC will produce, we will pick the feed and we will pay. But let's not forget, when GBC is producing, there's a cost to it.
Yeah. Okay, let me come into the production. The production, for anybody who's listening now doesn't know, is the cameraman standing there capturing the thing. It is the whole setup. The person who put the cable to connect. Yeah. The van, the big vans you see,
the OP vans.
That is the production. So the production is not the game that you see on TV. No, it just didn't happen. Yeah. When I was young, I didn't know how like Kwabena will be on TV and I'll be seeing it at home. Like I thought it was magic. But somebody's behind camera, somebody's talking to me.
Radio was a magic for me.
As I grow away, I guess sense I say things. So the production is all the things that happen to put the thing together before it comes on TV. The process of bringing it to TV is the broadcasting.
It's the broadcasting, yes. Yeah. So in fact, Sports 5 in France, I was made to understand that they were actually willing to come and produce, right, for like $5 million or $6 million. That's what they were charging the ministry to produce, right? So if they produce and let's say media organizations buy and they get the money and it is up to the amount, then they will give back. But if it's not up to the amount, then they will also take the $5 million or $6 million that they were asking from the ministry. That's exactly what GBC did for us. And then people are wondering why GBC didn't pay. Yeah. GBC didn't pay. But
let's talk about what the real issue was. As for the GBC matter, it's
I found it quite weird.
There's no communication. There's no
all right. Well, there was the information that was shared by the Member of Parliament, Honorable Bawumia, relating to the feeding of athletes. I think actually you spoke to him, and he revealed that. There's also the $4.5 million about the game management system, guys. I think even before we came on the show, you guys were talking about it. Can you just clarify that? Is it the feeding of athletes or the athlete that came? And I'm not a caterer, to be fair.
When you say all the athletes,
I'm not a caterer, to be fair. And if there's anything I recall from the African Games, the sports minister referred to, especially when it comes to feeding, is that the athletes, some of them have their diet, and so they have to do whatever they can to make sure that the food can fit into the diet of everybody. But $50 million. Do
you know $50 million?
I will just come to running in Ghana cities right now.
That's in excess of 220 million.
But do you think there are questions to answer related
Obviously,
to
there are
these
questions
figures?
to answer. I think it's even in the interest of the sports ministry that these matters are clarified for people to know that indeed the budget was not bloated.
Breakfast 5 million, lunch 5 million, supper 5 million, quick.
Right, because and if you do the maths, so per the games management system, we're told that up to 2,644 athletes were at the African Games. If you do the maths, each person, they spent $5,600 on each person. On the face of it, it makes no sense. So it will be in the interest of the sports ministry and the LOC.
You have to add the officials. Because the athletes came with officials.
Yeah, but so that's the total number, right? And I'm saying that it will be in the interest of the sports ministry and the LOC that these things are clarified for people to understand, because it will be difficult to convince me as I'm sitting here that for 18 days it costs $50 million for people to do this.
In some way.
And you see, beyond the public commentary, there has been certain attempts to get an understanding of this. We have asked people, ask for journalists, if you call, nobody will mind you. I was told in Parliament there was so the man I interviewed, Kobna Mensah Woyome, who's the MP for South Tongue, he's now the chairman of the Select Committee on Sports, because I was told the standing orders of Parliament had changed, and so the minority heads. 7 days into the African Games, he issued a parliamentary question for answers to expenditure and contracts relating to goods and services and other incidentals relating to the African Games. And what he told me was that up until date, the ministry and the LOC both have not even responded to that request. Beyond that, there were also some attempts to get the minister, when he appeared before Parliament, to ask about this same matter. And I asked him that, but on Monday, the minister appeared before the Public Accounts Committee. If you were minded to ask questions about this, you could have asked him there, right? Because an issue related to the African Games came up. So I didn't understand why on Monday, and there was minority representation there. So I didn't understand why on Monday there was no questions for the sports minister about that, and give him the opportunity to also explain all of these issues that you are saying do not make sense. And the explanation I was given was that if that subject is not part of the issues that the committee has been briefed to come and investigate on that day, you can only make progress through mischief. But even with that, the chairman of the committee will be quick to tell you that this is not on the item for discussion today.
So let the person prepare and come.
Exactly. So that is where we are.
Yeah, and I think when we, I think on Thursday, yesterday, I think, or Wednesday, we spoke to the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, and Mr. Honorable Aveji, and he mentioned it that, in fact, the question Honorable Sam George asked, he gave him the opportunity to ask. That.
So
it wasn't even
this wasn't on the table.
So I think an audit has not been done on the African Games.
No, there hasn't been one.
Hasn't been one.
What we know from these figures that the MPs are putting out, and even the specific matter of, so for example, the games management system, is that it went to Atos. So he's written to Atos for an explanation on this, but Atos have not responded to that letter. They were working with when they got the contracts, which was pretty late. I think maybe Muftawu will get into that a bit later on, but I think it was a little over a month to the games that this agreement was reached. But they made it clear from the beginning what the difficulties that they would encounter given the short period of time that they have to execute this. So I think they subletted to SoftTribe, who are a Ghanaian-based IT company, and they had to run the system. But maybe Sitso, for his involvement, can explain to us what the games management system is.
Hey, Charlie, when you say my involvement, the way people vex, they go figure say the money we are person.
What I want to understand is, Sitso, how much did you make?
So
because you never took us out for lunch.
So
Sitso, money.
So I want Sitso to help us with two things.
No.
First of all,
we are talking food first.
No. But you know what's funny? When you ask Sitso's like,
Boga, the truth of the matter is that the job they do, they don't pay them.
Let me confirm.
No,
They've paid.
Oh, okay, that's not you.
They've paid.
Okay.
Tell me, I don't do my I can go.
You can't do commentary with them pay. So
I can't do the job. So Ghana people say I try. I see some girls for time. They say, hey, so me I do.
I do the job.
Oh, Charlie,
why say if you get us money, they give you pass?
the boys don't mind me. The way girls are saying, I swear. The African Games, I say the girls in what sports? When they see you and some people say, but you look taller on TV, so I'm not that tall.
But I think we need to decouple the issues in terms of what the games management system entailed, under normal circumstances, how much it costs. Because for the uneducated, if you hear about the GMS and they tell you that it costs $4.5 million US, it can be.
Wait. So to be clear, I think what went out earlier was that it cost $4.5 million to do accreditation, media accreditation.
So the accreditation
that's what went out first.
Yes.
So and then now the clarity is that it was the game management system.
It came with the games
and
management
accreditation,
system,
which is normal.
Yeah.
Now the games management system, the name says it all. The entire games has a system that manages it, and that is the GSM. Now the GMS. Now, one of the best companies in the world. They are the standard now. They run it for UEFA. They've done FIFA. They do the current Olympics. They were doing it. Commonwealth Games.
They've been dealing with Olympics since 1989.
Yes, Atos. The name of that company is Atos, right? And they are world class. So what Ghana was seeking to do during the African Games was to get that world class game management system to operate. But in doing so, what it does is it gives you the input of all the athletes coming. It gives you the live events as it happens. It gives
Live
you the schedules,
volunteers,
live
everything.
update, volunteers, everything, including the accreditation, right? Now, what Atos also has is the security end.
Accreditation and ticketing.
Accreditation and ticketing, like everything about the game that you don't necessarily see physically, but you access online, right? Now, it can be an expensive system, but I think when we hear accreditation, it doesn't make sense. Now, what accreditation also does on the Atos system is its verification and its security coding. So when you go to a point where they scan your ticket, because the database confirms that this ticket is valid, that is how they know what ticket is fake or what ticket isn't fake. Now, if you're a journalist and you're going to cross your points and they are going to validate your accreditation, that system is able to check if truly that is the journalist and if that accreditation isn't fake. And for complimentary tickets, and even for athletes, you see that the tag they give them,
Everything.
their pass as well. Atos takes care of it. So ideally, it's not only the paper you see, it's the security codings and the database they build for it that comes with that can also make it expensive. However, during the African Games, in our case, the accreditation that journalists got, the one that I got, I didn't see any scannable security codings on it.
What did you see? You saw A4 sheet.
No, you see, no, but you've been to the
It was laminated.
You've gone to World Cup. When you see the accreditation, it's a different ball game, right? It is different. It's not a normal
Laminated
it
paper.
is security. If you the world, if you know the way they feel, say the wear something.
You be dope.
Then one day we wait for here, then you don't get that vibe. So when even though we saw the system that was giving us up to speed of the updates, the time that these athletes were running, the heights they were jumping, the weights they were lifting, who was winning at what point, because you can't be everywhere. Which boxer was winning? It was smooth, it was brilliant. But the other side,
the other features
that
should come with
it, that I can agree could be 4.5 million, were not there because we didn't sell tickets. The games were free.
Yeah.
So the fans who were coming in were not verifying tickets. So that security aspect for ticketing was non-functional during the games. Complimentary tickets that were shared, I didn't see them scanning them throughout the games. Even at Accra Sports Stadium, people were going, just showing it and going. So these are the questions that people can ask. But if you ask me if the games management system can be that expensive, I'll lean towards saying, yeah, it's a complex system. And with my IT background, look, it's a complex system. It's not that simple.
No,
it can be expensive.
But Sitso, to be fair, Atos sold us a product, right?
We decided not to use some features. Yeah.
Because, for
It's
instance,
not-
the
it's not
plan
about
was to sell tickets.
Yes.
When they realized that it's not going to
nobody
be.
go buy.
They say,
It is
okay,
not
let's make it free.
if Atos say do everything
that's
through my
that's a
system,
very good point.
and you have not done it using my system, that's not their problem.
But
They've
you see,
taken their
the
money.
issue was, so today I got in touch with the LOC to find out the scope of the service Atos were supposed to provide through Soft Tribe. When we knew that we were not going to sell tickets, did we go back to Atos and say, we are not using this function, so don't add it to what you are giving us?
Go
For
back.
us-
After you sign the contract, you go back and tell them.
you let me finish.
Atsu,
That is based on that would even be based on the assumption that initially they agreed to sell tickets.
No, they did.
No,
Because
they did.
Came out with
They did.
prices,
They came out with
ticket
prices.
There were
Yeah.
even
You guys let
prices
me
for the
finish.
tickets.
Wait, let me
You
finish. They agreed to sell tickets, and the package Atos through Soft Tribe gave us included security features for those systems that were coming, and they had made those
It
concessions.
normally does include it. I'm
Yes.
not too sure if it did, but it normally does.
So when we realized that, because this was immediately after day one, right? When we said we're not going to.
On day one.
We're not going to.
The opening ceremony, nobody
Yes.
come. So
But
Which was still very
the
early.
deal was signed long ago.
I
by that
know.
time the software has been delivered.
I know. I'm saying that at this point, did the LOC have a conversation? And you see, it has to
Same
be that
when
one.
they tear the monitor.
Yeah.
It's like you bought a 4-wheel drive. You decided not to use the 4-wheel
Anyway, guys,
function. Or
yeah, you're telling me
a car
that-
that has a sports function.
You say
You decided not
Alibarika.
to turn on the sports function.
So-
Who cares?
so that was not possible.
You can't tell me Alibarika. No.
It's Ghana shop.
Anyway,
The thing indeed,
Yeah.
yes,
Is-
is very expensive.
It
Right.
is, it is.
In fact, you spoke with to the LOC. I also had a conversation with them. Some of the monetary aspects were never like their thing, and in fact, I also spoke to some other people who knew some of the figures that were going out on all that. That system is expensive.
But why do you think nobody wants to host the African Games?
It is very expensive, and in fact, we spoke earlier about broadcasting. The African Games, not even media house is interested. Did you know that we paid $2.5 million to AU to organize the African Games?
Yes. Oh yes.
So as a host country, we are spending money to put up event. Why are we paying AU again to host the event? So they need to.
But that is procedural.
Yes.
People
don't know.
No.
That one is part of the
Many
package.
people don't know.
Atsu.
Okay.
Yeah.
1,001 people don't know.
Anyway,
You know that Super Sport picked the feed for free.
Yes.
When
No,
you see,
but the reason why they picked the feed for free was because they said the show was nice. My show was nice. So,
But even with that, they pick track and field.
and in
Oh, yeah,
fact,
they
and-
picked the
no, track and
wonderful,
field.
yeah,
And
yeah,
just to add, that also gave us a certain level of leverage. In as much as we always look out for money, let's also look out for the pluses that we cannot quantify.
that's a good point.
I would have wished Super Sport paid, but the kind of eyeballs they gave us, I don't know whether if we needed it.
They don't go pay. They don't go pay.
anyway,
I don't
let
know,
me-
but simple. To wrap it up, we play AFCON every 2 years in this country. World Cup every 4 years. Every time, government gives GBC money to buy AFCON so Ghanaians can watch for free.
yeah.
To buy World Cup free to air so Ghanaians can watch for free. In fact, when they buy the free to air rights, and there are some 2-3 games in the group stage that don't see Ghanaians, with insult government and GBC. Now GBC, you promise to show all games, you can't show all games because there is no free to air rights that gives you all games
Anymore.
It has limitations.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Now, when government buys that right for GBC knows that it's expensive. They have to recoup. So GBC opens up and tells everybody that come to all the stations in Ghana, those who are interested, come and let's form a group
a consortium.
so that by the time you are showing it, I'm also showing it, and everybody's showing it, then all the business guys in Ghana would know that, hey, then for all Ghanaians to see my products, I have to go and sponsor the World Cup or the AFCON, because whatever happens, wherever you are, once you tune into a local station, you will see the ad.
see.
It's not like GBC showing different ad. If at the ad, they arrange them to be played at the same time.
Have you forgotten we were playing them?
At the same time.
Yeah.
Now look at this. Even with that one that everybody in this country, about 10 stations are showing in this country, they are never, government is never able to break even.
You can't recoup.
Government is always running at losses. Not African Games. AFCON, World Cup, companies with the sponsor, government is losing, GBC is losing. I check my visa with the English. Then African Games. Who will make profits from Africa? Who will pay to sponsor African Games? So that is the reality.
You can't organize them.
The FIFA Women's World Cup, FIFA didn't make money. In fact, UK government had to force BBC, give them money to go and buy. You get it?
Yeah.
Under 17, under 18,
In fact,
FIFA would-
BBC bought it late.
very late, like 2 weeks to the competition, because when they did the mathematics, they were like, Charlie, the thing here, if we show, people will watch you, but it's not
they
the
won't
watching
pay
that
to
brings the
watch.
money.
They
The
won't
people
pay
will
to
pay,
watch.
they will not. So that is the reality of broadcasting. It's a different ball game altogether these days.
Well, guys, I'm sure you've been. Well, I think we've got like maybe 3 minutes
Sadiq,
to wrap up.
we
3
have
minutes
to
to wrap up.
read
Let me just
Sadiq's
say this.
message.
Yeah.
Sadiq
let's
Adams'
keep-
message,
all right,
because
just-
it's an important clarity that he brought to the issue. So he referenced the Act 939, the specific statutes that speaks to the provision made for the youth resource centers. He said funding for the multipurpose complexes is 10% from the District Assembly's Common Fund, which comes every quarter. The fund is guaranteed since it is sourced from mostly oil and gas proceeds. Never fails. It is not a District Assembly project. So 10%, 5% to the YEA, to the NYA, and then 5% to the YEA. So
Not
he's
anymore.
essentially bringing.
Not anymore. About 2-3 years ago,
Yeah.
some two guys took the matter to court, to the Supreme Court, challenging that. So now that's why when you went there, they said they have priorities. They decide where the money should go to. It's because that law, which was passed long ago, the Supreme Court said that it doesn't exist anymore. It is the reason why this specific percentage no longer goes to the NYA.
So the clarification is that the money goes to still the 5% still goes to the District Assembly's Common Fund.
Yes.
The only difference is that unlike before, now Toshi and the team at the DACF can tell NYA that You know what you are
You are
doing.
not. It's not important
so
to
we won't
us.
give you that.
But they are building a straight so the district
No.
assembly come off. Plenty, I'm telling you.
So they're
plenty.
also doing their own
So they
project.
they'll
fact,
say the
in
5% that is coming.
in fact,
And they are 80
Let me do some small concourse. Someone got a contract to produce for 175 districts. Like they're supposed to set up AstroTurfs in 175 districts.
Yes, it's from the district.
And in fact, the person too was trying to give her the contract to some people. Charlie, let me not talk plenty before they come and say. Before I come and say, Muftawu is part of our business.
So between the NYA,
I think we
DACF, and YEA, they can't agree among themselves which of the government's promises is better to execute or is more important to execute.
No, it's a matter of priority. Yeah. If they tell you that what you've pumped money into is no longer a priority for us, they'll just because the law has been scrapped by the Supreme Court.
Well, the political atmosphere is getting charged up as the general election draws closer about which political party has the best plans for the entertainment industry. The answer to this and more will be provided at the 5th edition of Joy FM Showbiz Roundtable. On this edition, the Manifesto debate on creative economy. We're offering a platform for political parties to present their policy ideas on Ghana's tourism, arts and culture for the next 4 years. The program will air live on Joy FM and Joy Prime on September 14, 2024 from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Speaking for the NDC will be Baba Sadiq, NDC parliamentary candidate for Kakwe Central Constituency, and Rex Owusu-Mafo, member of NDC Manifesto Committee. From the camp of the NPP will be Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mark Okreku-Manti, and the Chief and the CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Ajeman. This thought leadership event hosted by Kwame Dazi and produced by Philip Nye is powered by Showbiz A to Z, your most authoritative entertainment talk show in Ghana. And it's on that note that I would say thank you for tuning into Game Plan today. My name is Razak Musbau. We're going to be back same time next week when the NDC would have launched their campaign, their manifesto, and of course would have delved into it and finally concluded on what we think about it here on Game Plan come next week. Please do take good care of yourselves, and you can make time to go watch Summer Text at the Crash Sports Stadium on Sunday, and join us also tomorrow on Joy Prime for Prime Sports Extra, where everything is extra. My name is Razak Musbau. Thank you so much for your company.